Welcome everyone. Welcome to the LeblockCast fantasy football special this time around. And we're going to talk about today ideal targets for each position. We're going to go over like a 12-man mock draft of the first round, running back debate, sleepers for each position, a do not draft list, and teams that will surprise and disappoint. Once again, I am joined by my gracious co-host, Riley Stanton.
How's it going?
Returning to the podcast for his second episode, and now coming on full time, we have Zach.
It's great to be here.
And joining us, our one-time Jeopardy host, Luke.
How's it going, folks? Sorry to everyone in Jeopardy. I fucked up a lot, but it's okay. Go on.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to keep this PG-13.
Are we?
No.
I was going to say, there's your one F-bomb, man.
This podcast is not PG-13 by any means. Anyway, we have all played fantasy football. I have played fantasy football. This will be my 10th year, probably 9th year playing fantasy football. And I have, the record shows I have 4 rings in my league anyway. And yeah.
Well, in the league that I've been in against you guys, I have the ring, so that's all I'm saying.
I earned that. My team choked. My team choked so hard. I had the most
all
points.
I'm saying.
By like
Listen,
500
I
points.
pulled off the upset.
I know. And then my team got more points than Luke in the finals, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
And then there's Riley. Riley has no rings.
Oh, tough.
Don't cry.
Yeah, but now.
No! Just like the Chargers,
Luke's
no
dynasty
rings.
team is nasty too. Luke's
Sam
dynasty
Darnold leading my
Luke's
dynasty
dynasty
league.
nasty
man.
too.
Anyway, so we're gonna get right into this. We're gonna start off with drafting strategy for each position and where you're going to draft. We'll start with the number 1 pick and how you would choose to draft. Like, what will be your strategy? You had the number 1 pick. I'm gonna let Luke headline this one.
Oh my god, me?
You get first pick.
Well, as long as you have the first pick, it's a very easy decision of DeAndre. I mean, all right, no, sorry. No, Connor. Wait, his name's Christian McCaffrey, right? I never get that right first try. Christian McCaffrey. I always go with Connor because McDavid, but Christian McCaffrey, obviously first pick. And if you're obviously most drafts are snake. Depends on always how the board falls, but if you're the first pick and you get McCaffrey, running back is probably not the biggest need until 4th, 5th round. You can probably, if you can get a tight end at the end of the second, you do that, like a Waller, Kittle, or a Kelsey if he's there. That's what I normally do. If I'm, really high and you get that like really prime star running back, is going to get top 3 points. It's not the biggest thing to go and get another running back, or you can get another, a top tier wide receiver. Running back after McCaffrey, and even at 2, maybe Kamara or whoever you pick is, yeah.
McCaffrey's basically a receiver too, so you get the running game, you get the receiving game. You have 2 players.
McCaffrey's OP.
Spot,
so I mean, also if you get the first pick, you get McCaffrey, and as long as he's healthy, you can just really play around with a lot of things. Like, you get a safer pick maybe in your second pick, and obviously it snakes back, so your third pick's the first pick in the 3rd round. I mean, you can just mess around if you want. I don't know where Gibson's current draft place is, but I mean, obviously he wasn't one of the top 2 or 3 running backs, I think, last year for rookies, but I think he has a ton of potential with Washington's offense. So if you want to play around with that, I mean, there's probably safer picks out there, but he's a guy I'd probably target there if you want to go running back again.
Yeah,
but otherwise, I'd probably go for like an Allen Robinson. I think he's getting really underrated right now. So yeah,
I like Allen Robinson. That he's the number 1 receiver on that team, and especially for a young quarterback like Fields, they're going to be best friends. Like, he's always going to be the safe option because he'll catch everything.
Basically a safety blanket.
Yeah, the safety valve.
Yeah, no, I mean, Fields will be in that offense pretty quick. So Robinson's, obviously right now, first week is kind of like the feeling out process for fantasy. So I mean, if you have Robinson and your Fields is your starter, probably I'd bet by week 5. So 5 and after, you're golden for fantasy.
Yeah. Picking first is also a blessing and a curse because you get that first pick, but then if you're in like a 12-man league, you got to wait till like I think it's pick number.
Yeah, it's like 19,
24, and then
Yeah.
It's
If you're in 8 league, I
ridiculous.
know it's 24. And and you get back-to-back picks, but you can get McCaffrey off the board, but then it's not a slim picking at the second round, but it's like you're not gonna get those elite guys, like elite guys second round at like running back, for example. Elite tight ends will still be there, and elite receivers will still be there. So, I mean, I always try and at least have my running backs down. I try to get at least 2 running backs by round 4. That's always my kind of plan. Except in our dynasty league where I didn't take a second running back till like round 8, and I was stupid.
I didn't take the first one until round 3 or so because you guys left AJ Brown available, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll take him, and then I kind of got screwed there because now I have Montgomery, who's my RB1.
Hey, Montgomery though is another, like, once that Bears offense kind of transforms to Justin Fields, I like Montgomery a lot too. You know, I think he kind of gets underrated. I mean, he was sick down the stretch last year. Like his last 5 weeks, I think he posted 20 points all time in PPR leagues.
Yeah,
like Fields, he's so dynamic, so it'll just work.
Yeah, the thing of Montgomery is like last year, Matt Nagy wasn't calling the offensive plays anymore. They gave it to the OC, and now Nagy's going to be calling the plays again. So there's always that worry. Like, is it gonna translate to Nagy calling the plays now?
But
Montgomery, you can talk.
Nagy's seat is red hot, so I mean he's under the most pressure, so he's got to hit this out of the park because now he's calling the plays.
Yeah, the only reason he still has a job is because they made the playoffs last year. That's the only reason he has a job.
If you also remember though, Montgomery, at the start of the season, I think it was training camp, he had this huge groin injury. Everyone thought it was season ending, and I think he was just healing throughout the season, which is why he ended so on fire. But because he was finally fully healed, because he looked way more explosive if you compare week 1 to week 15, 16, 17. Like they were different players almost.
No,
absolutely. Lingering injuries will do that to you.
Yeah, I played Montgomery down the stretch last year in one of my leagues, and I think I want to say week 14 or 15, if I look at the stats real quick. Yeah, 15, he posted 29.2 points against Minnesota. I'm pretty sure at the very end, that's around the things that got them into playoffs, actually, really.
I think it was RB1 from week 12 to 16 or something like that. Like
week 12, week 12 to 17, he didn't post below 20 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's insane. It really is.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And in the first every other week, he posted above 20 points once.
Wow. Yeah. That's nutty. That's insane. Yeah. So Montgomery is your sleeper, Luke?
I have a lot of sleepers, honestly, but I mean, honestly, as much as I am a Lions fan, the Bears offense is very appetizing right now, even with the Nagy play calling concerns. I mean, Allen Robinson and Montgomery are definitely guys that I'd target. And one guy, if you're unaware of him at this point, I would draft every league is the Callaway. The wide receiver for the Saints. He's someone I'd taken every.
I don't know why I dropped him in Dynasty, man.
Yeah, I'll take him, baby.
Be the wide receiver one.
Yeah.
And then I picked up Malcolm Brown for him, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, Callaway looks like he's gonna be like Jameis Winston's go-to guy.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I get Winston concerns entirely, but man throws the ball, and to no dismay of the wide receiver. He's going to get targets. He's going to get catches. There's no choice otherwise. In preseason, they both looked really good together in their reps.
See, we do show the Saints some love. We don't just crap on them. We do like the Saints sometimes.
This is my show, though.
Everyone loves the Saints.
You're forgetting this is my show, Riley. Yeah, no, like I like
James' face. He wants to hate.
Every word is a dagger to the heart.
The Saints' mantra this year is going to be go deep. Winston can rack up yards. Like, there's no doubt about that.
Pun intended.
We saw what happened in Tampa that one year where he went 30 for 30 and he had like 5,000 yards. Yeah. Like, I don't like the Saints, but I got to admire, like, Cowboys is going to be an amazing fantasy guy. I just hope he does not go yard on my team. That's all I got. That's all I got to hope for. That's all I got to hope for.
Well, I got him in both my leagues, and I'm against you in both my leagues. So good luck.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
Who's picking second?
Second pick. We'll get into our other thing now. We're going to discuss what running. I know because I always go running back first round. Like it's like
Yeah.
Unless you're into late first, where all the top running backs are unavailable, then you should be going running back in the first round. It's a given.
Right. So I'm
unless
gonna
they're all
ask.
taken.
I'm gonna ask all these guys what running back you taking at number 2,
Kamara.
and why.
I have to go with Riley here with Kamara. I think just the same, like with Winston. I mean, there's basically 2 targets until week 8, bare minimum, which is just Callaway and Kamara. And Kamara was already unreal last year, wasn't he? RB1.
Yeah,
Because of that 7 touchdown game. Yeah, that was a ridiculous game.
You hit that 5 touchdown game in fantasy playoffs. I know.
Yeah,
Ruined
it was
a
a
lot of
dagger
people's
for
days.
whoever was in the finals. It was a dagger.
Mm-hmm.
Ruined a lot of people's days.
I would
But
pick Cook too.
he also is running behind one of the best O lines in football.
Yeah.
So that also helps too in terms of rushing. He won't rush for 1,000 yards, but he'll get to those receiving yards for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think the Saints' offensive line has changed from last year.
Somehow they managed to keep fucking everything. So I think they're okay.
Yeah. I would also take Kamara, but I would also consider taking Dalvin Cook at 2. I just have a feeling that Dalvin Cook, Minnesota's line is actually surprisingly sneaky good. It's no slouch, and I think in that line, if a healthy Dalvin Cook, he can just go off.
They also brought in Christian Darrisaw, so that'll also help them.
They also have they don't have a hard schedule. They don't have an easy schedule. So it's like a wishy-washy schedule kind of. Yeah. So, I mean, if I was at 2, I would consider taking Cook, but I probably would go Kamara because Kamara can do what McCaffrey does, but has a better line than McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I would take Cook for the simple reason that Payton doesn't seem to use Kamara as a workhorse. He should. He definitely should. Kamara should be on 80% of snaps. I don't think there should be a doubt there, but he doesn't use them like that. Cook does get used like that, and he always misses 2 games a year. Like it's something that's become something that always happens. But he wins you games because he's on 80% of snaps. He's one of the most talented running backs in the league, and he doesn't ever finish under a top 5 running back. Like he's just absurdly good. They love the ball. The defense is going to be better, so they'll run the ball more with Cook. So I just think that Cook's a better fantasy option.
Yeah,
because their defense can win them games. Like Hunter, Kendricks, Smith, playmakers on all 3 levels, which those that defense can close up win the games.
Well, you can argue with Minnesota is that Minnesota has 2 wide receiver weapons in Jefferson and Thielen that the Saints don't have.
3 weapons. You're forgetting Smith Jr.
He's also hurt for a little bit.
Yeah, he's hurt right now. So
Smith's got hurt. I thought concussion, right?
Or something like that. He got surgery on I think his leg or his wrist. I'm not sure.
Oh, was it? I don't know.
They
said he'd be back week 3, I think.
I love how we said in the last football podcast with Zach on it that we should make sure none of our guys get injured. And here they are.
He's coming back though. Like relax.
Yeah, but still.
I said CeeDee Lamb who got placed on the COVID list. So we just had bad luck. Like it's just
Yeah.
The biggest thing at drafting at number 2 would be just don't get screwed over by number 1's back-to-back picks.
Yeah,
that's valid.
That's the only real. Even that and like if you're in an 8-person league, even number 7 could go for that route as well. Just don't get screwed over.
It's also about not getting tilted too, because let's say you're really eyeing a guy down, and the guy who is on the turn picks his first pick. You don't want the guy, and then the second pick he picks the guy, and then you thought he was coming to you, and now he's not, and now you're tilted. So you have to have 2 picks ready always.
Yeah, I always make a queue of players that I'm eyeing at that pick.
Yeah,
and then if they're gone, I have like a backup right there. So that way, if you have like a 30-second timer, which I know some leagues do, people are like scrambling to find people. Like you always have a queue ready. Yeah. That's what I do anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's got number 3 or whatever we're doing now?
I'd say 3. If you didn't have Kamara at 2, you have Kamara at 3, and if you didn't have Kamara at 3, then you have Cook at 3. So I mean, it's those two are kind of like a 2A 2B situation, at least to me.
Yeah, I feel the same. It's a clear tier. There's the first tier is McCaffrey. It should be obvious. Then the second tier is Kamara, Cook, and then you get a bit vice versa. You can really not go wrong with any of the next few picks.
I think the one thing that I would kind of argue with the top 3, I mean, not really the top 3, the 2 and 3 is like, it obviously it all depends on a lot of things, because if you look at the history of 2K rushers, it's not great for them the season after. But I mean, Derrick Henry is obviously he's not a PPR guy because he does not catch passes at all, ever, especially not with Julio coming in. But I mean, dude is a beast. And granted, I haven't looked into the hierarchy of basically like how every other 2K rusher, where they were, where they like what age and stuff like that. But I don't see Henry slowing down. I don't think that offense is going to change enough to where like he's going to lose snaps and he's going to lose this and the other thing, because the dude is still a freight train.
Yeah.
I truthfully don't see a reason that he doesn't rush for 2,000 again. I don't think he's really going to be tampered with that much, because I mean, even last year, AJ Brown was hurt and they had more targets, and Henry was just fine at all times on snaps. I don't think it's going to change that much, because no matter what, it's Derrick Henry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, I kind of hope he does slow down, because I traded him away in fantasy.
My only thing with Henry is like, I really like him, but last year he finished as the RB3, and I feel like he hit a ceiling. Like that's probably the best numbers he's going to get with the amount of touchdowns he got, the amount of yards.
I don't want to say he's
how efficient he was,
but
I feel like he can only go down from what was a near historic season.
Yeah.
So, and he finished RB3 too, just because he can't catch the ball.
Yeah.
So he's only down to, I think he'll be 4, 5, 6. I think that's where he should be. I just can't see, unless an injury happens, that he's better than Cook or Kamara or McCaffrey.
If you're in a PPR league and you have the third pick, you got to go, and Kamara's still on the board, you got to go Kamara. Like Kamara and McCaffrey should be 1, 2 in PPR. Henry and Cook, if you're in PPR, might fall because they're power backs. But like you said, Henry doesn't catch. I see him dropping off a little bit, not because of his talent, because of like you bring in Julio, and Julio's basically Corey Davis' replacement. And I could see if now Julio last year, you could see signs of him like regressing a little bit as a wide receiver. He's still a great wide receiver, but I just don't think he's like that elite number 1 anymore. And the only reason I could see Henry go back to his form is if Julio struggles.
But that defense, it's atrocious.
It's
I don't like their so they're going to be passing the ball a lot. Yeah, that's so Henry will do good, but I just think the Titans are going to have to pass a lot more, because they didn't do a whole lot to improve their defense this year. They brought in Bud Dupree, I believe, right?
Yeah,
but
they got
that's not going to solve their problems.
They drafted Caleb Farley, I think is his name too. He's actually pretty solid as a cornerback.
Farley. Isn't he? Yeah, but he's coming back from a really bad injury, and cornerback probably the hardest position to learn. That's I think he's going to be a stud.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to our next segment. Actually, we're gonna move on to our sleepers. Now I know we did this on the last podcast, but we're gonna go more into depth today. We're gonna go for every position that is not named kicker.
What?
I can't go with Youngway.
I have a kicker.
I can't go with Youngway. I can't go with Youngway. You're kidding.
Well, Youngway's the favorite though. Like
I picked him in the 11th round in my paid league.
Michael Badgley.
Look, was it in your league? Some dude took a kicker like 6th round.
Yeah, that's my buddy Tony that took fucking Justin Tucker. He's a complete asshole. He took him in like the 7th round. I was.
You wanted to get the best kicker.
Certainly, but let me look at this. It's like 7th round pick 67, Justin Tucker.
That's what not to do.
Yeah, that is. Listen, folks, you are considering what to do in your upcoming fantasy draft. You do not take Justin Tucker over the likes of Kenny Galladay, Javonte Williams, Trevor Lawrence, and company. which is exactly what happened in this league.
All right. So what we're gonna do for the sleepers thing is we're gonna ask all of our guys their position. We're gonna ask you guys who's your favorite, like not your non-sleeper, but like who you would take first overall if you had to pick this position, and then we're gonna ask them for a couple sleepers.
I think first overall for the most part it's gonna be pretty self-explanatory. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we're gonna start with QB. Riley, first overall. You take Herbert first overall. You home skillet. Listen.
No, that's the bias pick. But if the first quarterback available should either be Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, those two should be the 1 and 2 quarterbacks drafted.
What about Josh?
Well, Josh.
Yeah, what about Josh?
Yeah, but that is a great pick.
They pass the ball like 50 times a game. They don't run.
Lamar will also get you those rushing yards. So I'm sorry, Ravens fans. He's basically like a running back.
Just put Lamar at running back.
But that's, in my opinion, those should be 1 and 2. And yeah, so it's either Mahomes or Lamar.
All right, next, Luke, who would you take first overall if you had to pick a QB?
Call me crazy, but listen, I know a lot of, at least to me, the top quarterbacks are very replaceable to a degree. Like I think there's 5 quarterbacks really that are kind of, you can go either way. My pick is Kyler Murray. I love Kyler Murray.
Oh,
yeah, I love Kyler Murray.
This guy knows. Yeah.
I don't think his offense passing targets wise didn't disimprove at all. I think James Conner and Kenyon Drake are pretty comparable, and he's gonna run. Dude can run.
Yeah,
he's gonna be the same player as he was last year. He just got hurt last year a little bit, so I mean, bearing that, he can be the number 1 quarterback easily.
Yeah. I value Murray over Lamar Jackson right now. Like if I had a board,
I do too.
Yeah.
So we just messed up shit on Riley's picks. There we go. Okay.
All right, Zach.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree. I completely agree with Luke. I think Kyler Murray is my favorite quarterback. I think he has all of the potential to be the number 1. He's utilizing the running game. Might get 1,000 yards this season. He has the same amount of rushing upside as Lamar, in my opinion. Runs the ball on the goal line about as much as Lamar. So 6 points for a rushing touchdown compared to 4 for a passing touchdown is huge. Like that's a huge gap. And then he also passes the ball a bunch, which is really underrated. I think he threw for like 4,000 yards last year, I'd like to say. And
4,000 yards.
Being able to throw and run. Yeah. Having that combination of throwing and running is just exceptional. I don't think there's a reason why he can't be the quarterback 1 when he has better targets. Now that he got Edmonds is going to be more in the offense. They got AJ Green, who I know is a bit washed and drops every single pass, but he's better than what they had. And I think Christian Kirk could even take a step up.
Yeah.
But they have elite receiver Andy Isabella too.
And
yeah, the guy who got taken over DK Metcalf.
Yeah, since he's not mentioned, also obviously you can't go wrong chucking a ball to D-Hop, and they developed a great chemistry last season. So
absolutely, that's without training camp too. So
yeah,
it'll only get better.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say a guy none of you guys have said. I'd go Josh Allen. Josh Allen's in a very pass-heavy offense. The kid can also run. Like the kid is mobile. Like when he has to be mobile, he's not like this. Like it's not like a Tom Brady or like a Aaron Rodgers mobile. Like he's like this kid can run.
He trucks people.
Yeah, he trucks people. He hurdles guys too. Like I want a guy who can throw it deep and run. And I think, call me crazy, he could be a bigger Russell Wilson.
Well, to me, I feel like he's the closest thing we've seen to prime Cam Newton. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's how he plays for me.
Yeah, so I would take Josh Allen in a heartbeat. I do like Mahomes, but like Mahomes, like I said, like they run quite often as well. They have a lot of like RPOs, and I would really prefer Josh Allen.
The Mahomes rocks, and if you're drafting in fantasy and you want to go Mahomes, I would recommend getting a Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce stack if you can get that too, because that is one of the most OP things in fantasy football. But if you're just looking from a standstill of quarterback, I'd say I think Josh Allen is unreal, Lamar Jackson unreal, and Kyler Murray unreal. Yeah. And you can't go wrong with Russ, really.
All right, so now we're gonna go through the sleepers. We're gonna pick 2 each. You guys can say the same guy as well.
Is this for quarterback?
Yes, and we're gonna go reverse. So I'm gonna go first, and then we're gonna. On my board, there's a loop. So we're gonna go circle around the loop. For my first sleeper at QB, I'm going Matthew Stafford.
Fair.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Get out of my brain.
It's a good shout.
Stafford has a good offensive line. He's got good weapons around him. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods don't play around. Like, they're 2,000-yard receivers. And when healthy. And I think Matthew Stafford can thrive in LA with McVay as his coach. And I just think it'd be a career revitalization for Stafford in LA. And I think for fantasy wise, he's gonna throw a lot of touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
Facts.
Zach?
I'd go with Trey Lance. I don't like the Niners, but like he's going, I think, like QB 20, QB 21-ish in most sites. So like he has a cannon of an arm. He has one of the best offensive minds in the league coaching him, and he has rushing upside, which is probably one of the most important parts for a quarterback in fantasy. I think he's not going to start maybe the first few weeks, but after he does, he's a league winner. He has upside to be a top 5 quarterback for fantasy. Maybe not, obviously not in real life, but for fantasy, because of the arm talent, the weapons. He has Kittle. He has he has Debo. He has Ayuk. He has all these amazing talent players. There's no reason for him not to be a top 5 quarterback as soon as he enters.
All right, Luke?
Well, I think Riley's first, technically, actually.
No, you can go ahead, Luke.
No. It goes you and then Riley.
Well, sleepers, I feel like are guys that you're just not really going to draft that often. My number one sleeper is probably for quarterback is Baker Mayfield, honestly.
Yeah.
I think you could probably have a lot of skepticism in Baker Mayfield because he's not the best quarterback. But I think last year was right, if I'm not mistaken, really his first year with OBJ. No,
because OBJ got injured like week 4.
Yeah, so I mean, I think OBJ is kind of healthy right now. I think Jarvis Landry really showed up down the year last year. Obviously, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, you can't go wrong, and you're going to give deep balls to each of them every once in a while. I think Baker Mayfield, I think last year was a really good taste for him as like finally being like a winning quarterback in the NFL, and they went to the playoffs and obviously beating the Steelers also, and almost truthfully beat the Chiefs. Like had a fantastic game against the Chiefs. I think he hits a next level this year to me. Obviously a lot of that's wait and see, but I like his odds, truthfully.
Yeah.
And then another quarterback for me that's a sleeper. James is gonna be mad at me because I'm just sucking the Saints' dick at this point, but like don't think I'm wrong to say Jameis Winston, bro. Like he has won the job in St. Louis. Holy fuck. New Orleans. I don't know why I said St. Louis. I guess I think I'm in relocation when I'm thinking of San Diego and St. Louis Rams and stuff like that. But nevertheless, no, Jameis Winston, he won the starter job, and obviously the interceptions in his history for going literal 30 for 30 is not that appealing. But I think the Saints offense is going to enable him to be a lot better than he was in the past with different schemes. And I definitely think that having the likes of Callaway and Kamara is going to help him. Granted, it's not like he ever had bad wide receivers in general, but I don't know. I like his odds as well.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick, honestly, because if Winston can thrive in New Orleans, I think it's a steal. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Okay, so I'm up. First off, Luke, that shot at San Diego and LA was unneeded. Thanks for that.
Sorry.
Yeah, come on, man. Put that
away.
Sneak
these in.
I asked for picks, not complaints.
Anyways, James, get out of my head, Matthew Stafford. Okay. But yeah, it's basically the same reasons you listed.
Yeah, I said you're allowed to say the same person, guy.
Also, question here. So Taysom Hill's listed as a quarterback, right? If you put him at quarterback and he gets receiving and rushing yards, does that count?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Taysom Hill. Like, come on, if he's gonna get you receiving and rushing yards, like
I'd say Taysom Hill if he finish was named the starter.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did he finish last year as?
I don't know.
He started a few games
very high.
Swiss Army. He started a few games.
But what I'm meaning is he may not get to the throwing yards, but he can get you rushing and receiving yards, which if I'm correct in most leagues, rushing touchdowns and rushing yards are more valuable than receiving and throwing, right?
Yeah.
So if you can get you those yards and those count, then why wouldn't you?
Good point.
All right. Honestly,
I'm looking. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I'm gonna name. We're gonna name our number 2 because I know Luke said 2 right off the bat, and I'll just say my other sleeper.
Oop.
Honestly, Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Like you say, oh, he's old. You see what happened in Miami. You see what happened. Like he still played good in Miami. Like, and I know he's like mentor. He's a mentor right now, but like in Washington.
He also has a very enabling offense there.
Yeah.
I mean, he has McLaurin, who's you'll later find out is a guy that I would reach on. But they just added Curtis Samuel and Antonio Gibson's crazy, and Logan Thomas just had a breakout year. I mean, Fitzmagic is definitely
still there, and he's a good
McKissick's still a very good receiving back as well. Just like you said.
I was gonna say, you have 2 good receivers in Samuel and McLaurin, and like those 2 receivers can thrive with Fitzpatrick. And I know he's old and he may regress this year. You never know, but I would still take a chance on him if you're drafting like maybe your 15th round or 14th round pick if you need a second QB.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, he's going to be facing off against the number 1 defense week 1.
The Rams don't play the football team.
I didn't think the football team could play the football team either.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You open yourself up to these events.
I know.
You open yourself up to these events, and then you complain when you get made fun of.
Yeah.
It's the Riley way. Anyways.
Okay. And Zach, for our last sleeper.
So my second quarterback kind of goes in tandem with my Trey Lance call. You need a guy who's just going to be very, like, he's not going to have a high ceiling, not going to have a low floor, just a guy who can tide you over until Trey Lance takes the field. So I'd probably go with a Matt Ryan or a Kirk Cousins. Both of them are pretty similar. Both of them just have good weapons all around, and they are both pretty solid quarterbacks who are gonna give you a high floor, low ceiling. You know what you're getting.
Okay.
It's just a nice thing.
All right, moving on to running back. We're gonna say just our 2 off the bat now, just so we can get this going a little faster.
Yeah.
Are we all in agreement? We would all draft McCaffrey first overall if we had the chance.
Yes.
No, I'm taking Miles Sanders, but that's me.
That's a good pick, Luke. You know, he's my.
Do not draft Miles Sanders first overall. We are not advocating that.
He might be in a running back by committee, but he has the talent. He has the talent to take it all the way. There's no reason why he shouldn't be running back 1.
Oh, dude, dead ass.
Right. So my first sleeper, he was a sleeper. He was going to be a sleeper until recent events happened. Yeah, but I take Gus Edwards. Because now if Dobbins down, Edwards, when he had his chance, I think like 2 years ago, he played great. Like he's not a slouch at all, and he can get you yards. He will run people over. He's like a poor man's Derrick Henry without Derrick Henry muscle moves. But he'll
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he'll run you over. He'll hit you in the mouth, and yeah.
Another good thing about. Oh yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say another good thing about him is people call him the Gus Bus, but they act like he's slow. He's actually really explosive. Like he's fast when you watch him run.
Yeah. And my second one, I'm actually gonna go with a tandem. Tevin Coleman and Michael Carter. Somebody's got to run the ball for the Jets. Somebody.
Yeah.
Did you just hit both of Zach's right there? I'm just curious.
No, I said thank God because I was worried he would.
Yeah, because like Carter's a rookie coming out, and I think he will get the starting position by the end of the year. But Tevin Coleman in San Francisco, he showed he can do the committee. And in Atlanta, when he played in Atlanta, he was pretty damn good. And I think he could be a very serviceable running back if you pick him up like round 14.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. My first sleeper. I have 2. I found a second one.
All right.
My first one is Damian Harris. He's gonna be the first and second down back on that team. He's just really talented. He's running behind a better O-line this year, and Cam Newton, who's a touchdown vulture, who steals all of the rushing touchdowns, will be gone in no time. Mac Jones has looked fantastic this preseason, and he's not the kind of guy who's going to run the ball in. He's a Phil Rivers. He's not. You don't have to worry about him going on read options and just going, because he can't run more than 5 meters. So having someone like Damian Harris, who will get touchdowns eventually and will be a workhorse in that team, will just present great value at his RB28 ADP. He could be top 20 running back easily. And then another one I have is Raheem Mostert. People seem to forget about him because of Trey Sermon. He's still extremely talented, extremely fast. And when Trey Lance comes in, people have to worry, just like the Lamar effect, where you have to worry about the quarterback taking it on a read option. Now you have to worry about that. And when people are focusing on Trey Lance, Mostert's so fast that he'll have a 20-yard run by the time you notice that Trey Lance doesn't have the ball.
Yeah. Contrary to belief, Mostert is still the starter.
Exactly.
And people seem to, because they have like Sermon ranked way above Mostert. In one of my leagues, I got Mostert like 12th round.
That's a steal.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
And I had some dude take Trey Sermon like 6th round. Yeah. I'm like, oh, he's still there. I'm like, I'll just take him. Yeah. But
and keep in mind, and keep in mind, Kyle Shanahan was the OC when RG3 was tearing up the league. His starting running back was Raheem Morris, I think, ran for 1,600 yards. Not a good running back. Ran for 1,600 yards just because they were worried about RG3, and you're in Shanahan's backfield.
Yeah. All right, Luke.
Well, my number one sleeper, I don't want to stretch too hard on sleepers here. Damian Harris is, definitely kind of like a sleeper, but he wasn't going to be one of mine. I love Damian Harris. I drafted him in the Dynasty League. But I think one of my bigger sleepers is, and I mean, I think most of my sleepers are kind of like middle of the pack guys, but what's his name? Let me just get this right. Myles Gaskin, right?
Yeah.
I think technically Miami's a committee backfield right now. But I think down the stretch, especially last year, he was sick. He's really good in the receiving game, like really useful. And I like Tua. I'm skeptical on Tua, to be truthful. I think the offense will kind of transform a little bit this year, adding Waddle to the mix because deep ball is so important. But Gaskin was really good down the stretch. Miami does not have a bad line by any merit. I think he's kind of set up to succeed there, and especially if Tua isn't the man. Obviously, there's a lot of trade rumors swirling with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's a little more mobile than Tua, maybe, but I think Gaskin's still going to have a really good year there, even if it's Watson or Tua.
Okay.
My other one is James. I'm really sorry. I don't mean to be shitting on you today, but Mike Davis.
Big boy.
He's going to be an absolute workhorse for Atlanta.
Quadzilla.
Yeah, exactly. Quadzilla. That man has JFK airports on his thighs. That guy has thighs to dream for. Like, whoo, man.
Tree trunks for legs.
Jesus Christ, man. Like, oak trees just boom, boom. But no, Atlanta's kind of already said that he's going to be the workhorse back because he has nobody behind him. And there's a little bit of skepticism with Mike Davis because last year was his first year in like real stardom, and he was only a starter because of McCaffrey's injury. But he has zero competition going over to Atlanta, and he like zero competition. Obviously, Matt Ryan throws the ball a lot. He's Matt Ryan, but Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, obviously still sick. Russell Gage is a sleeper for you if you want it. But I think Mike Davis is carved out to have a huge workload there. I mean, he's going to play 80+% of snaps, every game as long as he's sparing injury.
I would definitely agree. If Mike Davis is available, like mid-round, I pick him up. Like once again, I always say this: if you see a team like, oh, they don't really have a good line, for example, but you always think of this: who's going to run the ball? Mm-hmm. Somebody has to run the ball.
No, absolutely. I mean, Mike Davis is going to be workload number one. There's no competition there, and obviously, Atlanta is kind of a poorly built team right now. Sorry, Atlanta fans listening, but like, he's gonna get reps. He's gonna break through no matter what happens, because every running back does no matter what.
Yeah. And Davis looked great in Carolina when McCaffrey went down with injury. And to be fair, the Falcons line is a little bit better than the Panthers line. So I see a similar type season with Davis.
Yeah. Also, look at James Robinson. If people want to say you can't be a good running back on a bad team, that team had one win all season. If you have the whole large, it can be a tiny pie, but if you have the whole of it, then you're going to be extremely useful in fantasy.
Yeah. Riley, to end our running back sleepers.
All right. I'm going to go with Philip Lindsay here. I think people are underrating how good he is. Okay. Hold off on that look. Philip Lindsay is a stud, and I went up against him. He does have a crowded backfield, but I predict Philip Lindsay will do good this year. Like, he will be good this year, and you can call me out on this at the end of the year if he does bad.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, so good.
You'll watch.
He's gonna be
You watch.
RB1. He's gonna
all right,
be
Riley, go to your next sleeper.
And besides, this is
He's gonna be
sleepers.
Houston's RB1.
Sorry, Riley.
Riley, I need your sleeper number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Javonte Williams, the Broncos. Melvin Gordon is injury prone. He is.
That's a good.
And Williams looked really good, and
Good call.
I hate that he went to the Broncos because, again, why can't the Broncos just be bad? But I do think Williams will be good.
Back.
Yeah.
Can you shut the fuck up? Do you have the talking stick, Luke? No, you don't.
No, you're right.
Okay.
I like Melvin Gordon.
Moving on, I'm gonna put 2 honorable mentions as well. If you're in a deep, like if you're in an 18-guy league, AJ Dillon or what's his name, Jamal Williams.
The quad father.
Jamal Williams is a good call, especially with DeAndre Swift's hamstring injury.
If you're in a deep league, those 2 guys are good options as well.
One guy also to look for, obviously his stock's rising really high right now, is Sony Michel, who was just traded to the Rams the other day.
Yeah.
That backfield's kind of scrambled right now with Cam Akers out all year, and Darrell Henderson already suffered, I believe, 2 injuries in preseason.
Don't say that, Luke. He's not my dynasty team.
He's not my dynasty team. No, I mean he's a guy that I would definitely look out for. I don't know what his role is going to be officially yet with that offense, because I think at the start they were very committed to Darrell Henderson, but
it looks like he's going to be like a 3rd down back for now until he learns the offense.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Wide receiver. And we're going to start with Riley. Riley, if you had the first pick and you had to pick a wide
receiver, Davante Adams.
Wait, I'm sorry. This is the guy we picked, not sleepers anymore?
No. So we started off with the guy we picked first overall. We had to.
The first guy we picked, yeah.
Riley,
Davante Adams.
All right.
Yeah.
Luke?
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs.
That's a good pick.
Zach?
It's either Devontae Adams or Calvin Ridley for me.
It's Adams, or honestly, it's Justin Jefferson.
Like we already said earlier, Josh Allen throws the goddamn ball, and Diggs is not one to make drops, or he doesn't really lose contested balls too often. Obviously, a lot of people, as including me, don't think Josh Allen's going to go off the rails anytime soon. So Stephon Diggs is a safe bet, especially for me.
Yeah.
I like the Diggs and Allen love, considering I have both of them in my paid league. I'm loving it.
I got Diggs in my my paid league. I'm very excited for him, actually. I was going to take a running back. I had like the 9th pick, and it was keeper, so I already have Derrick Henry. But Diggs was there at pick 9, and
Diggs
keeper,
fell.
I was like, well, yeah, Diggs fell, and like I don't blame the guys that didn't take Diggs, but at the same point, I was like, well, shit,
I'm gonna take Diggs.
I was like, I can't not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna let Riley go first to sleepers, because he's been shafted the last
You're right.
2 times.
Okay. Sleeper wide receivers. Oh. Robbie Anderson. I feel like his tandem with DJ Moore, they're very good. He's a very good deep threat for Darnold, as well as having that connection. It's going to be good. And Luke, again, you just haven't given me that face of I'm about to end this guy's career.
I didn't say anything, bro.
Luke was joking there. No, Luke was joking. He was joking about making a fake laugh. That was right.
Oh.
Hold it.
Robbie or Debo's kind of a sleeper, or Michael Pittman.
Okay.
You really had to add the or Michael Pittman, eh?
Yeah, or Michael Pittman, you bitch. We're gonna have you say it this time. We're not gonna explain it because we out of time. Luke.
I already alluded to it. Callaway for New Orleans, definite sleeper. You could take him. I took him in my paid league in the 16th round, and he's going to be wide receiver 1. Another guy I would look at is Randall Cobb, who just came into the Green Bay offense again. But any guy that's being passed to by Aaron Rodgers that has, that is an actual wide receiver. Granted, Valdez Scantling and whoever else, they are receivers, but they're not that good.
Alan Lazard.
Randall Cobb is better than both of those. He's going to be the primed RB2. I think it's kind of going to play around with how they use that offense now because he has Aaron Rodgers. If that motherfucker complains about one more fucking thing, like a top 5 O-line, one of the deepest wide receiving cores, great running back core, great tight end. I fucking hate Aaron Rodgers.
Great defense.
Great fantastic defense. Yeah. God, it's so fucking hard to be in Green Bay, but nevertheless, Randall Cobb is definitely a guy I would target because Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. He's good.
And they have that connection still, so they have the chemistry there. So I definitely agree with that for sure. Zach.
Yeah. So this guy's a wide receiver 1 on Jacksonville right now, and he's going at wide receiver 52. According to Fantasy Pros, Marvin Jones. I don't know why he's going so late. It's ridiculous. He's getting a ton of targets. He's fantastic. I really don't get it. He's Trevor Lawrence's wide receiver 1. He's going to get volume. And my other guy is who was it? It was Curtis Samuel. I like Curtis Samuel a lot too. He doesn't have to get back into the offense. He doesn't have to get back into that offense. Like he's already played with Rivera. Rivera drafted him. Rivera paid him. So he's going to get targets.
And he knows the system.
And he caught 1,000 yards last year. Yeah, he caught 1,000 yards last year. Like he's a good receiver. He was in a crowded wide receiver room and he still caught 1,000 yards and was one of the better receivers last year in fantasy.
Yeah, I would say
and he's going wide receiver 51.
Yeah, I would say Samuel was like our second best receiver last year, probably behind Robbie Anderson because I think Moore had a down year. Curtis Samuel will get you that if they need a fair down pass and catch, Samuel, that's your guy.
He can also play running back a bit too. Yes. Like I saw there were some snaps where he was just slotted in that running back and he was pretty explosive there too.
Yeah. And for me, I'm gonna go with Traquan Smith from New Orleans.
We're giving the Saints a lot of love today.
Yeah, Traquan Smith. Last year last year he looked really solid. He goes deep, and he's that deep threat that New Orleans had. And now they have Callaway as well. Mm-hmm. But without Michael Thomas for a couple weeks, I think Traquan Smith's gonna get a lot more volume.
People are sleeping on the Saints offense, is what we're saying here, basically, for fantasy.
Yeah. And speaking of volume, I'm gonna go in a different direction. Tyrell Williams for the Lions. He's going to get a lot of volume.
Especially with Perriman leaving.
Yeah, one thing, if anybody listening to this is new to fantasy, a lot of stuff, at least to me, because I don't want to call it, I take it seriously, but like, I like winning. I'm definitely not, someone that likes losing. Like I go pretty fucking hard in the paint for fantasy. Like I'm on waiver wire. I'm looking at training camps. If you want to win a lot of fantasy leagues, like the bulk of fantasy leagues are money. Like my one league is, a $70 league. If you were first place, who doesn't like $70? Watching training camps, who's going to be a wide receiver 1. Cause like, don't get me wrong. There's some offenses that might be scary, like the Saints with Winston and Callaway, but like Callaway's the wide receiver 1. He's going to catch balls. And especially like, James just said, Tyrell Williams, like he's a wide receiver 1, and he wasn't bad in his history. He just had injuries, which is something to definitely be, worried for. But he's the undisputed wide receiver 1 in the Lions offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown maybe, could get there, but through training camp and preseason, it's Tyrell Williams.
Yeah.
He also has a connection with Anthony Lynn.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be the number 1 in that offense, other than, TJ Hawkinson, who's definitely going to get a lot, but it's Williams all day.
My honorable mention will be to the, might not call this guy a sleeper, but Jerry Jeudy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jerry Judy's wide receiver 1.
I love him.
I think he's number 2 after Sutton, because Sutton's coming back. But with Sutton's injury, coming off an ACL tear, some players aren't the same after that. So
he also fits the way he also fits the way Bridgewater plays.
Yeah. What, check down?
Yeah, Bridgewater passes it to guys when they're wide open. That's the only time that he passes it to them.
That
but
is
Jeudy is electric as a route runner. He is probably a top 10 route runner in the league. He just can't catch any passes. If he can fix that, then there's no reason.
All right, our last position, tight end. Give me 1 second.
Thanks for interrupting the podcast.
Tight end.
Who's going now?
We're saying I would pick. Well, first we'll always do first. We'll go Riley. Who would you pick first if you had to pick a tight end?
Tight end. I would go with Kelsey.
Okay, Luke.
It's Kelsey or Kittle. I think it's a 1-2, truthfully. I love Darren Waller also, if you really want to, fuck around. Darren Waller is unreal, but the issue with Darren Waller is he'll go and get you 40 points, then he'll go and get you 6. Yeah. Kelsey's going to get you a pretty consistent 24 in Kittle if he can stay healthy, which he didn't have much injury concern in the past. So I think he'll be okay. And especially with Trey Lance coming in at some point this year, Kittle he's going to be really good.
Zach?
It's Kelsey. It's Kelsey.
Yeah, I would say it's Kelsey, or I would even go Waller. I'm really high on Darren Waller. So
there's no one in that offense.
No, Waller's fantastic, and that offense is pretty crumpled. Other than I don't mind their RBs, but Waller is target 1. He's probably target 2, and he might even be target 3.
Okay. Yeah, I would pick Kelsey though, because he has Mahomes throwing to him, and Waller
you can never go wrong with Travis Kelsey. He's a first round pick in the majority of leagues. He is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. So tight end sleepers are gonna go with 1. So Riley, who's your tight end sleeper?
Yeah.
I want to the bias in me is going to say Jared Cook, and I'm only saying that because he knows
who?
Joe Lombardi. Jared Cook,
also known as the fantasy dud.
Yeah, but okay. Again, this is mess on Riley's picks day, but no offense, honestly, no offense. Like Zach said, Bridgewater's play is get it to the guy who's open. Tight ends on most plays are open, right? Majority of times, the tight end's a good check down option. Fant.
All right, Luke.
I mentioned him once earlier in this, but definitely Logan Thomas. He had a real coming into his shell year, not coming out of his shell year, rather, last year. He was really, really, really good. He might not be your, top 5, top 7 tight end. He could probably stretch for maybe a 6-7, depending on how Pitts and Andrews are this year with their respective offenses. But Logan Thomas is really good. And like we said, Fitzmagic, he has a very good enabling offense there with Washington. I like Logan Thomas a lot.
Yeah.
Zach?
You guys know that I like Higby, but I'm going to go with someone else now. I'm going to go with Pat Freiermuth. He would have been a first-round tight end easily if it weren't for Pitts being Pitts. But he's fantastic. He's going tight end 24, caught 2 touchdowns in a game. He's a really good tight end, and he's going to overtake Ebron, who sucks. So,
fuck Ebron. Sorry,
Lions legend.
I'm gonna go with Dan Arnold.
He's in Arizona, no?
Carolina.
Oh, well, go figure.
So there's Dan Arnold and Sam Darnold.
He's an older guy, but like he can still catch the ball and be explosive. Like he's still explosive. I think he's over the age of 30. I know that for sure. And I just think he could be a really good safety blanket for Darnold as well. So yeah.
But can't McCaffrey be a safety blanket?
Honorable mention will go to Adam Trotman of the Saints.
We just love the Saints. From the Saints, all kinds of love
Dude,
today.
The Saints are the best. Honorable mention for me, Dallas Goedert. I think he gets forgotten a lot, but he's really good at the game of football.
Yeah.
And Dallas G is going to slip in a lot of leagues because he's...
All right, we're going into our second last segment of the day. Do not draft list.
That's you, James.
Oh, well, you're pointing that way, and I'm this way.
But on my screen, you're that way.
I think we're gonna let Luke try this one off because I know Luke said he had a couple names on his list he wanted to get out of the way.
Yeah. For me, with do not drafts, a lot of things go into consideration. Injuries are a very big thing with me in football, at least, that I feel like can get agitated a lot easier, and people kind of don't make note of that. But I don't think that's really gonna relate to the people I have to stay first. God, who are my do not? Before the draft, one of my do not draft lists was J.K. Dobbins. In truth, I think a lot of people might disagree with that, but this is before his injury. J.K. Dobbins was definitely under my do not draft list. I think that offense is just really dynamic with the run game, where like even last year with J.K. Dobbins coming into his shell, Lamar still run the ball a lot. I think Lamar is going to come back to his prime this year. And they added wide receiver targets, like with Rashad Bateman, and Mark Andrews isn't bad. And they signed someone else that's
Watkins.
Good, no?
Sammy Watkins.
Yeah. He's on one of my do not draft lists. Injury wise, one of my do not draft guys is Joe Mixon. Everyone in this chat knows that I fucking hate Joe Mixon. I don't even think he's talented in the first place, but he gets injured every year, like clockwork. Like every year.
Joe Mixon fell hard in one of our leagues.
Oh, dude, he was like third, fourth round. I don't like Joe Mixon. I don't think he's it, especially for Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is a very pass heavy quarterback as long as he does not tear his entire fucking leg again. But no, I mean they have the targets, even with Jamar Chase, not really coming into it. Tyler Boyd's not bad, and who's the other guy that they have that's really good actually? T. Higgins. Higgins was really good last year. He was very consistent for them, even with what was their backup quarterback, Zach Taylor. No, whoever it was. Joe Mixon's he goes a lot of times early second round, maybe late second round, but he's a guy that I would avoid personally.
All right.
I'm gonna give you mine. I would not draft Jalen Hurts. I would stay away from Jalen Hurts, especially with, I know he's in hospital now with the stomach issue, but like even last year when I saw Jalen Hurts play, he had that great game against the Saints, but after that he just didn't look like he knew what was going on. And this year in preseason, like I've seen him play and he did not look great at all. I just don't trust him. I don't trust him with his weapons. I just don't trust the guy.
Yeah, I don't really trust his weapons. I think Miles Sanders, if Jalen Hurts can come into his own, I think Miles Sanders, I kind of jokingly said his name, but I think in the Saints game especially, like Miles Sanders was unreal with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
they had a great combo. But no, Jalen Hurts, I think it says a lot with the guys that they didn't change their offseason too much, but drafting Devonta Smith as a Heisman winning wide receiver, which is one of the most uncommon things ever. They go out at the final week of preseason and they get Gardner Minshew. I don't see that as a good note for Jalen Hurts at all.
Yeah, the other two guys I have on my list, I have do not draft a Broncos running back.
Oh, you see, now I have Javonte Williams, and I love Javonte Williams.
So Javonte Williams, I think, could be a steal later rounds. But here's the thing: Javonte Williams isn't going to get first round reps. First team. He's a second team guy. Probably going to use as a third back down. I just don't trust any of the Broncos running, especially Melvin Gordon. Do not draft Melvin Gordon. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Do not draft Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon can go rot in the hole.
And I would not draft Juju.
Fair.
You gotta be kidding me! Right on the turn. right
doing
on the
TikTok
turn.
dances got you points,
right
Juju
on
would
the
be leading
turn.
the league.
No,
he
because
picks
Pittsburgh has
Juju.
a crowded wide receiver room, and I think Claypool and Deontay Johnson are just going to outperform Juju and have better years than Juju.
I was planning on starting my speech with Corvette, and then James steals my thunder, man. Like,
Yeah.
But so the guy, someone who I wouldn't draft is Michael Carter. I think that it's going to be a muddy backfield, and I think Tevin Coleman will ultimately win. Michael Carter, I think he'll probably get dropped in most leagues, and then he'll probably get picked back up like week 10 when he starts to start. And then whoever drafted him is going to feel so burnt by Carter that they'll never draft him again, even if he becomes a phenomenal running back that I think he can be, just because they'll be like, I drafted Michael Carter and he did jack shit for me, and then I drop him and he did everything. So I have him, and then I also have Jarvis Landry. I think there's too many mouths to feed there, and they like to run the ball. That's just how they play.
Riley?
And maybe Zach Moss too.
I like how some of these kind of contradict each other. I'm pretty sure someone said Michael Carter was one of their guys to draft, and Zach's like, I don't really know about that.
Yeah. Carter was my sleeper for like late rounds. Like,
if you get Carter, maybe like round 14, but I don't think he'll be there 14. I would go Carter, but nevertheless.
Anyway,
that's not off.
I'm gonna say do not draft Hunter Henry. His past injuries, as well as New England, they've got Jonnu Smith. They also added some wide receivers, I'm pretty sure, right? Like, they signed a lot.
Aguilar.
They signed a lot.
They signed Aguilar to a lot of money.
Aguilar, Jonnu. They got Harris, as we said, and just
they got
Hunter
another
Henry's
wide receiver.
Yeah, they did. I forget who it is, but Hunter Henry, do not draft. I'm speaking as a Chargers fan. I'm speaking as a guy who someone knows his fantasy football. Not as much as these fellas, but
definitely not as much as me, but it's okay.
Most humble guy I know, Luke.
What's the guy's name?
You guys talking about Neil Harry?
He played on the Niners last year.
Harry, yeah.
No, he played on the Niners last year.
Kendrick Bourne.
He played on the Niners last year.
Kendrick Bourne, my guy.
Think of it.
Do I?
Yeah, I know. I said Kendrick. I agreed. I heard. Okay. I heard you.
Okay.
And I said, that's his name.
Two honorable mentions I would give are Najee Harris and Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram can't catch a ball.
Rookie running backs are very
that line is terrible.
That line's bad, but like we've inferred a few times through this episode, is kind of like he's the starting running back. He's the RB1.
Yeah. Tomlin already said he's not doing any of that. The stuff that coaches do with rookies, where it's, they gotta earn it. No, he's just like
walked in there, but
Meyer go
walked in there is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, well, Meyer, like he was saying that it was a battle between Minshew and Lawrence when they drafted Lawrence first overall. Like everyone knew what the result was going to be, but he kept claiming that it was a rivalry, like a battle. But I like Najee just because he's I think, like we said with the pie, Steelers like to use a workhorse. Najee is going to be a workhorse, and he should. And you'd think he could be an RB1 just because of the amount of sheer volume he's going to get.
Okay.
And
so we got two more questions before we go. The first question we're going to ask everybody, one answer for each. Name me a team that will disappoint this year and a team that will surprise this year.
Let me Google NFL teams because I don't know them off the top of my head.
We're going to talk to Mr. Headset Off right now, Riley.
Well, I just turned my toque around to avoid the Chargers logo because that's a team that often disappoints. So, yeah, the Chargers are going to be the team that disappoints. I've come to terms with that.
Friendly fire.
It happens every year. It happens every year. Media hypes us up in the offseason.
Hey, it's a win. This is a win-win for you, Riley. If you guys perform, you're happy because you perform. If you guys don't, you're happy because you're right. So,
and a team that will disappoint, and a team that will surprise Riley.
That's a good one. I don't even really know. James, you're gonna love me for this. Luke, you're gonna hate me for this. The Panthers. They could be a team that surprises because they've got a young team. Their D line is really improving and going to be coming into their own. Their secondary, I like. It's led by Chin. What was that voice crack? I'm 22 years old. What is that? Chin, Horn, and Bouye. I like that on their secondary. They do have a rough second half, but they can be a team that surprises.
Yeah, it all depends on the defense and
Yeah.
Darnold. And Darnold is going to be the X factor this year for us. If Darnold can become like cleansed of Adam Gase, I think we can surprise. But yeah, it all depends on the defense and Darnold. So,
okay. Anyways,
Luke?
Whoever's next, I don't.
Am I next? Oh fuck. Can I do? Man, this is kind of a hard one. My team that'll surprise isn't a team that I'm gonna, sit here and say is gonna be like elite and they're gonna make playoffs and they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that. But I think Jacksonville will do a little bit better than people think. I think that offense, especially once because through preseason, Trevor Lawrence really came into that. I think his last preseason performance, his rating was like 152. He was like 11 for 12 with like 160 yards and a touchdown. Like he was really good there. I think that offense, once they have a healthy Chark out there, they have Marvin Jones, who's wide receiver one. They have Robinson, who's good, and Laviska Shenault's no bad
slouch.
player at all. I like their offense a lot. Their defense obviously still very rocky within a division that has explosive running backs is scary. But I think I think a lot of teams are probably, or a lot of people are probably predicting them for like a 2-3 win season. I think they're capable of like a 5, 6, 7-ish. I'm not going to sit here and call them playoffs because they're not going to beat out the Titans or the Colts. It's impossible, but I think they'll be better than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
My team to disappoint, I'm kind of between two teams here, and a lot of it isn't necessarily because their team's bad. I think it's just because of situational. I think the NFC, West, right? I think that's probably the hardest division in football right now. And contrary to Zach's current belief, my team to disappoint is the LA Rams. I don't know. I listen, I'm a Lions fan and I respect Stafford to hell, but the last 2 years, and people are going to argue for Stafford all day. I think he couldn't be elite, but dude gets injured very fast and dude will play, but from having 100% quarterback to maybe, by week 6, really a 35% quarterback, that's not really what you want. And their running game realistically took a step down from last year. Last year they had Cam Akers, who came into his shell a lot later on, and Darrell Henderson. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. I like a lot of their team. Obviously, the defense is still the defense, but I don't know. I think Arizona is a team that I think will do a little bit better. I think San Francisco, if they can figure out the quarterback situation, will be really good. I think the competition is going to help them a lot. And the Seahawks are obviously very good too. The Seahawks and the Rams, it's not even really through a magnitude of like a team in there is bad. It's just the situational factor of like every team in there is really, really good. Every team in there is really stacked at most positions. Like you have one of like the best safeties in the league, one of the best D tackles in the league, best wide receiver in the league, best quarterback in the league, best everything other than run game, which is fucking awful in that division other than Chris Carson. It's a scary division, and Rams and kind of Seahawks too. I hate to say it, are teams that I would look out for to maybe, not make it and will disappoint.
Not Seahawks.
What about you, Mr. Zach?
I'm debating between two teams to disappoint right now, but for surprise, I'm going with, and this is going to irritate Riley, but I'm going with the Broncos here. I really like the Broncos team. I think they have the best secondary in the league. On paper, it's unbelievable. Even though they're trading Bryce Callahan, maybe, which will probably put them down in my rankings. but Von Miller looked flashy. He looked good in the preseason. He was good in the run game, good in the pass game, looked himself. And they're starting Teddy B just so that the team doesn't make mistakes, which I know that Teddy B can lose you games by being so average, but
1-9 on game-winning drives.
He won't win you games, but as long as the Broncos can maybe stay in the game and have like maybe a 3-point lead for the majority of the game, I think they'll be pretty solid. They can rely on maybe a running game. They have a decent O-line. They can rely on just giving screens to Judy, who's the playmaker. And the defense is going to be set up in good field positions. And for disappoint, I don't think they're going to be disappointing by going to the playoffs or not. They'll go to the playoffs, but I think people expect too much of the Tennessee Titans. Their defense isn't very good. Julio always seems to get injured. I think they'll be a 9-8-ish team, which will be good enough for that division. I think that division is pretty weak. I think that division is this year's NFC
especially
East
with the Texans. Yeah.
Yeah, I was debating between the Titans and the Texans for disappointing. Be that I've seen some people give the Texans 2 wins, and they won't do that. But
I give the Texans 1 win, and it's against the Jets. It's
only because the Jets are going to call it cover 0 in an obvious passing situation, and the guys going to get
no,
burned.
they have Salah now. No, they have Salah.
Okay.
He's enough.
Okay.
Yeah, so me and Zach had the same idea. I have the Broncos as well, being the team that surprises. I think that defense, getting Von Miller back should be a big help as well. Best secondary in the league, second best secondary in the league. I just think I could top the tops the offensive woes they have. Even on the offense, you got 3 great receivers as well in there. So I think the Broncos can definitely surprise people. For my disappointment, I had a few teams.
Tim Patrick's a baller, man.
Yeah, I had a few teams, but I ended up going with the Cowboys.
I wouldn't even call them a disappoint. I just call them an expect.
Like everyone everyone expects the Cowboys to be this great comeback. Dak's gonna come back. I don't see it. I don't believe in them. I
think the Dak injury could be the scariest injury draft fantasy anything in the league because dude went down fucking hard, and that injury is one of the worst to come back from. And I think he ruptures it again this year to me. And that offense, their offense is very dynamic, explosive, but their defense is terrible aside from adding Micah Parsons this offseason. Their defense is probably like a bottom 3, bottom 5, and that's being generous. Their defense is really bad, and I don't get me wrong, I love their wide receiver targets, and Ezekiel Elliott, I think he has a comeback here to a degree, but the Dak Prescott thing is it's such a scary situation.
Yeah,
there.
if he goes down, then I think it's over.
Yeah,
I'd give them 4th last. I'm looking now.
Yeah. Another team I could have put in here was the Patriots. Once again, bringing in a bunch of guys doesn't always help the situation.
Yeah, but you're led by Bill Belichick.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Cam and Bill Belichick, that didn't work last year.
Yeah, but they got Jones.
But they got Mac Jones.
Yeah,
I got 2 things.
I had him pretty highly graded.
Right.
I got 2 things. I completely agree with James. I think the Patriots are kind of overrated. Their division's not good. Granted, the Buffalo Bills are good, but I don't love the Dolphins. And who's the other team in their division?
Jets.
I'm sorry,
Jets.
The Jets. Yeah, the Jets are the Jets. Their division's not good. But, grabbing a scramble of guys, and it's funny being a hockey fan and, watching because, no team has ever built out of free agency and won in hockey in any caliber.
I'll give you an example. Ottawa got out all those guys in free agency, and it didn't come together until mid-season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think free agency signings, they're always bumpy, and especially the Patriots free agent signing, they were very confusing. I like some of them. I like they got a guy on defense that I really like. But
Judon?
Yeah, Judon.
Body built by Taco Bell.
Yeah. But getting 2 tight ends in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith is very confusing. And granted, you can use both of them, and I don't mind that, but the wide receiver one's Nelson Aguilar, who I don't hate by any merit, and Damian Harris, while I am also a fan of, he's uncertain. He is. He's never carried the load of wide or running back one. He hasn't. He's always been a committee or a switch through or a third down. I don't know. I don't love the Patriots. My number 2 was James. I love your shirt.
Thank you. We have now come to our closing question of the night. I want to thank Luke and Zach for joining us on the pod today. Even though we won't be thanking Zach in the future because Zach's going to be full time on the show now. So,
woo!
Yeah. So
the crowd goes mild.
Anyway, our closing question is, who is one rookie you are looking forward to watch that is not on your team?
Who's going first?
Oh,
I can go first.
I'll go first, guys. Don't worry. I got it.
Everybody, not all at once. Come on, guys. Settle down. Not all at once.
What? I don't know. I think the very obvious one is Trevor Lawrence. I'm really, really truthfully excited for how he does in this league. I think he's going to kind of come in and make his mark as a franchise quarterback really fast. I like him in college a lot. I think that offense is very enabling, like I've said in the past. I like how he does. Another one that I'm very curious actually is Jalen Waddle as well. Well, I don't like the Dolphins offense, but if they can really bring Jalen Waddle into that offense and make him that deep shot guy, he'd be a very fun player to watch.
I'm gonna say Justin Fields. I think a lot of people slept on this kid in the draft, and I think he wants to prove everybody wrong. And I love the fit with the Bears. I think it could work out very well. And like the kid's explosive. The kid can do it all. So I'm very excited to watch him. Another kid I'm looking forward to is actually Pat Surtain from the Broncos.
Wow, that's a big one for you to mouth off.
Yeah, I love Surtain in college. I kind of wish the Panthers took Surtain. Like I wasn't mad with Horn, but Surtain still I like the kid. So there's that. I'm also interested to see how Kyle Pitts does because I don't want to get all those yards on my team. That's the only reason. Anyway, next.
I'm gonna go with. I like Fields. Like I said, he's very dynamic. But I'm gonna go with Trey Lance. As when you look at the haul that the 49ers had to give up to get him, he's got a ton of pressure on him. Because those are 3 first rounds.
Listen, Zach Wilson has a lot of pressure, sure, because he might not be the number 2. He was drafted number 2, obviously, but I think Trey Lance should have way more pressure.
No one talks about Zach Wilson.
Yeah, nobody does at this point. I mean, he was the number 2 pick, but yeah, like Zach Wilson should probably have a lot more pressure than he has because he probably shouldn't have been the second QB drafted, but Trey Lance should have all the pressure.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with on the defensive side of the ball, I really like Jalen Phillips or Kwity Paye.
Yep.
Kwity Paye.
Sorry.
Kwity Paye over in Indy, like he's got D-Buck on that D-line, like he's got help, but I really like that player coming out. Luke, can you please just settle down here, Haas? Are you settled?
All right, okay. Zach, and take us home.
Okay, so I want to gone for this wide receiver, but I'm thinking of getting him in a trade in Dynasty, so I won't go with him. But I'll go with Kyle Pitts. He's I'm matching James. I want to see how a generational tight end can do in his first year in the NFL. We haven't seen the tight end absolutely wreck the league in this first year, so I'm just interested to see what happens. And then
it takes like a few years.
Defense, on defense, he was my number 1 defensive player. He got my best grade on defense in the whole draft was Azeez Ojulari. I love the player. He landed on the Giants. I think he's in a good. He had a great landing spot, so there's no reason for him not to be a success. I think.
I didn't say defensive side of the ball, but I'm just going to check out Greg Newsome.
Yeah, he's a good pick.
And once again, I want to thank
for them.
Yeah, I want to thank our guests for coming on. We are actually now on Instagram. LeblockCast on Instagram. Follow the page. You know me. I am Leblock James on TikTok and on Instagram. Shoot me DM anytime. And we want to thank everyone. This is the fantasy special, and we want to thank everybody for tuning in. And we will see you guys on the flip. Peace.